Yeah, Low is definitely something that has a lot more in store for them. It is a 2-day event going first into Swiss and then into a higher stakes bracket. But of course, this is still our first match of the set. And I guess we don't have the maps on the screen just yet, but looking at round one so far, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Kyo, we have Umami Ruin Zones to open it up, then Megomar Tower, and finally Scorch Gorge on Rainmaker. There it is.
I was gonna say, big thing here is that they're all play all three. You're not gonna, you will have to inevitably run into Scorch Gorge Rainmaker at the end. So, yeah, for every team playing off here, especially the 2-day event, they will get a taste of 18 maps total. Of course, split into 6 different rounds of this. So if you do the math, I know how to do math right now. It is three maps per round, or 3 stages per round rather. So I mean, Frostix, it feels like it's any other tournament when you're gonna start off with a zones map, let alone an Umami Ruin zones map. That is a 2-zone map coming up.
Yeah, it is 2 zones alongside the big rectangle in the middle. So I have now that I've been playing a lot more comp recently, it is now known in my vocabulary as divider here. But I think when it comes down to Umami zones, you want to at least kind of hold that front line down, lock it down, ensure that you can at least, if at like best case scenario, you control the silo or the dome in the enemy team spawn. That way you just have a lot more of a secure lockout on Umami Ruins.
And of course, getting with the 2 teams here that will get their first taste of the 2-zone map here in Umami Ruins, and of course the team that will get the lockout. That's going to be the big thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on here, especially with, again, in regards to Sea Lanterns, their 3rd tournament participation, actually overall as a team. I'm going to be curious to see if they will get their first dub, at least to start lowing, excuse me, as crippling ink efficiency, which again, I'm still going to laugh at the name here, Frostix. Is they're gonna get to start off strong. Of course, every team here, for the record, 91 teams participating in this month's edition of Blowing. The first round is always just the warm-ups or lead-ups. You don't exactly know how this matchup is gonna go, especially with the draw that happens here. So I mean for both teams, winning map 1, especially this 2-zone map, will mean a lot down the road here for this play all 3.
Yeah, exactly. If you can get that ball rolling, if you can get your momentum off, you can potentially get that rust shaken off easier here, then you can get that ball rolling, especially on a map like TC Mako. That kind of, I think that map really is momentum heavy. If you can get that push past, like, if you can get that tower past first checkpoint here, it'll be a pretty difficult time getting that lead back if you are on the defending end. And now we have no more time left to yap. Let's get into Umami Ruins, Keon.
Yeah, let's get this show on the road here. We take a look at the teams. Crippling ink efficiency is going to be on the Bravo side, the purple color side. Green colored side is Sea Lanterns. I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. It's Dude with the silver spray to get things going. We have one Reef Slider on the board, and we also have a series of interesting weapons. Let alone the Dreadringer. That's the one with the crab tank, if I'm not mistaken, on the side of Sea Lanterns here. And this is going to be an interesting start to see how in this case, Crippling ink efficiency is going to take advantage of that Reef Slider to their advantage, but they're going to have to wait just a little bit longer. They just used it for 1. They actually get a few pops, but they are going to get the trade here. And so far, Frostix, this will be Sea Lanterns at least getting the first points on the board.
Good positioning on Party's end, ensuring that they can get the trade off with that Reef Slider pick. And right now we're seeing Party, I think that's Temp as well as the leader on, I think that Sea Lantern is just holding down the line on Divider at the moment here. I think Crippling ink efficiency has still space to move in. They just threw that Booyah Bomb in, but now that S-Block is getting picked off, the Soda has been deployed here. I think we're seeing the Reef Slider trying to go in, but they get shut down by Flat, slashing it up with that Platonic Stamper. And here comes a frontline grab from Sea Lanterns posted up on the dome. You need to watch out because look, they're almost out of their points.
Yeah, they're almost out of the points there, but they did lose a few members. You're taking a notice there of that frontline crab there, as we're gonna get a quick cutaway, and we're back in session right away there. The wipeout has been secured, and that will just be the 90 points remaining there. We're gonna get a quick focus though. That frontline crab tank, definitely the right idea, but they've lost a lot of ground, a lot of momentum as we spoke there. So it was a good, valiant effort to at least enforce a lockout there from Sea Lanterns, but Crippling ink efficiency, they're gonna get their first punch of points here on the board, and they are actually keeping the momentum up here pretty strong here, Frostix.
have the momentum going, but do they have the positioning? They're backing off at the turn of the missiles, courtesy of the pros in here. We're seeing Dude trying to hold the line with the Fizzy Bomb and a Reef Slider almost ready to go. Zone is in neutral. They are almost at that lead point. They're almost making it out of the 30 threshold into the 20. But here comes Temp with a Crab Tank to potentially spawn, but it's getting chipped off by Cryo. No, Cryo goes down to Temp's Crab Tank. Dude needs to run. They need to have that slider ready to go. They need to, if they can get that flip going. Furz is going down to flat, and that is a zone flip by Sea Lanterns, not allowing a lead swap just yet.
I mean, when you take advantage of that Crab Tank and able to get a few picks up with the range of it, it's gonna mean a whole lot. And right now for Sea Lanterns, they are able to stop basically a lot of the points from being lost here. And all they need to do right now is just hold the line for just a little bit longer. They are getting some staggering picks here. First has to just burn the Crab Tank to at least keep the defenses up. But by using it earlier, they end up losing the reinforcements that they need to keep the pressure going. The trade is gonna benefit Sea Lanterns at the end with two members up on both sides. It doesn't look like the counter push is going to be there quite yet. The Dualies is just doing their best to try to get paint on the board, and it looks like they might be able to. They at least get the one taste of neutral for 3 seconds, but they are inevitably shut down at the end. And Sea Lanterns, the team on the green color side, will strike first, winning stage 1 here in this play all 3.
It was definitely a valiant effort from Crippling Ink Deficiency in order to... I think it was good to get that zone into neutral here, but I think at that point, Sea Lanterns was just far too close to winning at that point. They were in the single digits. I think they were just literally 2 ticks away from getting that. All they needed was just a little bit more paint, and that's what Sea Lanterns brought in spades. So that is game 1 going to them. We're going to TC Mako next, and now that we have had a taste of what both of these teams have to offer, Kion, what do you think what do you think Mako Mart's gonna play out? How do you think Mako Mart's gonna play out?
You know, I don't think I'm going to be seeing the Silver Spray yet from Crippling Ink Efficiency. Most typical conventions here is that if you're dishing out that Silver Arrow Spray, you're gonna be spamming Reef Sliders for days. It's great for zones map control. If you can make it work on Mako Mart TC close to the second checkpoint, I can see it come out there, but I wouldn't be shocked if they just swap that out. I do like that both teams did bring out Crab Tanks. Expect those to return back in some capacity if they want to keep those weapons. I think though, if we're reading close to this one map setup here, I was trying to figure out the sample size of just that one map. I feel like you could have a lot of dynamics to play. I also wouldn't be shocked if Crippling Ink Efficiency just makes changes wholesale. So for Crippling Ink Efficiency, if you want to be on the board, I wouldn't be shocked if they make some adjustments.
I think there's one thing that you pointed out earlier at the start of Umami Ruins. On Sea Lanterns, they had the Horns Dreadringer here. That's a really underrated, under-the-radar pick, in my opinion. It is, of course, a Dreadringer, which leans well into the AoE, like the ledges, and I guess the AoE of Dreadringer can just thrive really well in Mako Mart. And of course, it has a Crab Tank, so it's filling out that crab slot for Sea Lanterns and just allows it to provide a lot more pressure onto, say, something like that first checkpoint ledge area, as well as just the rest of spawn as the tower moves ever so closer towards a knockout.
Yeah. And that's actually kind of a good note there, because not many teams pick up the Orange Dreadringer, if only because there's probably better options you can have with a Crab Tank. You play basically Vanilla Splash, even Splat Dualies. All other options are on the board. So and other teams tend to value different weapons that kind of suits the team as a whole. If you wanted a Reef Slider pick, you just pick the Vanilla Dreadringer and then call it a day. So I also just wouldn't be shocked if they want to go that direction. But I think for a map like this, you could just make the Crab Tanks definitely work in the end. So I think Frostix, we can talk, a lot of strategy can be talked here. It's still just a 1-game sample size, so I think there's a lot of things that could be on the table for both teams coming into the second game.
Definitely a lot of things in store for the next 2 games. There is still an entire Rainmaker map coming after this. Another thing I wanted to point out, I think this was on Sea Lanterns, they got the leader. Leader has superior range, and considering that there is at least a fair amount of vantage point for that leader to sit on, very good. I think Crippling Ink Deficiency would want to find ways to shut out their eye in the sky here. So Osprey still on the leader. We're seeing Flat switch up to the Sticker Stamper here. Furz is on Twinkle's the Twinkle's dually, so that's going to be some bubble action on their end. And we're seeing Dude still sticking with the arrow. This time it is gold.
Now, Goldsberry, you apply the same strategy as spamming Reef Sliders, now spam Booyah Bombs instead. This is a double Booyah Bomb setup that crippling Ink Efficiency has. The only problem with this setup that could pose an issue, your Goldsberry is going to be farming Booyah Bombs for days. The problem though is that your team now has to make up for it with some aggression and some skirmishing. You gotta hope that the Twinkles Dualies can step a bit along with the S-Blast in this particular comp setup. Sea Lanterns has 2 GG specials available. They got the Trip Strikes, they got the Booyah Bombs ready to go. They keep the E-Leader, which is a fantastic weapon for this map. So Frostic, I think coming into this, it's gonna really boil down to the best push but before after the 1 minute mark and see where the game state lies.
I mean, already Sea Lanterns is cruising past that first checkpoint here, only after a little bit. They are now past that first checkpoint. Osprey is posted up on left staff, trying to get that snipe. Boom! Dude going down here. I think they have their sights set on Cryo before they jump out. It is only left to Furs at the moment, as now Sea Lanterns is approaching that second checkpoint. Furs and I think Dude are in place, but that is a crab popped by Tempt.
Oh no!
From the leaders also providing some extra pressure, and now Sea Lanterns are closing in on that final checkpoint. That first Booyah Bomb is hitting the tower, and now they need to get that tower in, but I'm not sure if there's anyone left. I know there's a lot of people left.
Yeah, there's still plenty of people left around that tower, but you saw from just one powerful push, Frostix, and just the amount of players that dropped right out of the game from Crippling Ink Efficiency. Crippling Ink Efficiency now has to just chase back into the tower, put their defenses up there. You saw the very defensive bubble there from Furs just to get everybody from Sea Lanterns out. And Sea Lanterns incredibly are still playing this one opportunistically with all the members that were available, but they lost 2. That should stall it out and have the tower return back to neutral. But crazily enough, Frostic, the fact that Sea Lanterns kept the tower close to the third checkpoint for the first 2 minutes of the game does not bode very well for Crippling Ink Efficiency. But there's still plenty of time left on the clock, but they gotta get stuff going. I would expect the Booyah Bombs to really help here with getting some control back. The problem though, they're gonna have to farm those back up, especially if they lose 2 and now a staggered 3 just like that.
They are staggering pretty hard, Kyo. You are indeed right. And they need to start holding down space, because if you just lose that space and go down like Furs did under the ledge, now look, Sea Lanterns is already up and going. They don't need to worry about checkpoints here. We're seeing the Blaster striking, but now Blaster is going to be able to get rid of Banana, throwing a Booyah Bomb straight onto Furs' head top here. There's 2 down on Crippling Ink Deficiency. There's a Booyah Bomb set to left stack. Furs is going down to a slash from flat. They're going to potentially get rid of Banana. No, Banana gets rid of the Stamper, gets rid of the Dreadringer. Banana is the last bastion, and they are not letting Crippling Ink Deficiency go down without a fight. It is 1 4-inch away from Sea Lanterns getting that knockout. There's 1 minute, 53 seconds left on the clock, so Crippling Ink Deficiency have their work cut out for them. The thing here is that with Sea Lanterns, if you get the KO, that is amazing momentum and a lot of positive energy to build off of. Coming into the third stage. But in this scenario, I don't think they're going to mind it too much. They have had a lot of control of the map so far. A lot of credit to Banana for getting the double there with that S-Blast. The problem, though, is the rest of the team. I think what we're noticing throughout this stage here is they're just staggering one by one. They have to focus on some of the priority targets that could stop them. But the way that Sea Lanterns is playing together as a team is incredible to see here in this second map. So a lot of ways that this can play out, but right now, Sea Lanterns just has all the control in the world so far, and Crippling Ink Efficiency again. They just gotta get some picks on the board. Yeah, they need to start ramping up the aggression, start taking space more aggressively. They're all chilling beneath the ledge here, but they need to start storming the stacks here, not allow Temp to stay in this crab for too long. And boom, the crab armor is shredded, but Temp not allowing that to phase them. They get rid of Banana. It is only Cryo and Dude, but now Furs is jumping into the fray. A Booyah Bomb is being charged by Dude. Now Osprey's gone down, Temp has gone down, there's 2 down on Sea Lanterns. This is the moment to strike, and as Furs and Dude have stepped on the tower, it is go time. But here comes a Booyah Bomb from flat here. It could impede their progress. They need to remain stalwarts here. The Booyah Bomb was being charged. It does come off. That's not going to be enough. And Sea Lanterns jumps right back onto that tower here. There is under 20 seconds. Crippling Ink Deficiency needs a Hail Mary and a half if they want to get a knockout at the moment, because Sea Lanterns are just defending this tower like their lives depend on it. Temp getting rid of Banana. The strikes are hitting the tower in a GG effort. Temp needs to run.
Yeah.
Oh, they just smother Dude, and that is it.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, That's Sea Lantern just taking total control of the entire game, and for crippling ink efficiency, that setup that they had with Banana on the S-Blast, the switching off from the Silver Spray to the Gold Spray, the right idea, but that Gold Spray, all it's gonna do in most cases is farm Booyah Bombs. There's very little fighting power that they could do against some of the other weapons that Sea Lanterns had on the board, and also what doesn't help, just some of the opportunities that they tried to strike back. Sea Lanterns just had a great read on them, and Sea Lantern's first their first set win actually of day one, so that's a great start for them. Crippling ink efficiency down one, but it is play all three. They're gonna have to play the third map. So Frostix, I always call this as the salvage map here for crippling ink efficiency. You want to at least end this first set on a very good no, even if you lost a set, because that will at least get you going potentially on the next set coming up. And for Sea Lanterns, they just want to ride the high of a 3-0 clean sweep here, especially coming up to the Scorchforge Rainmaker map.
Now, okay, of course, I think the elephant in the room efficiency
What is up
is
here?
dude.
What are you thinking?
It's
Am I the only one that's still here? Did we officially lose him?
No,
Because
I'm
if
here,
so, I might
I'm
be the
here.
one that's only speaking here.
Yo, I'm here.
So it looks like we might have lost Frostix.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? What the? I'm here.
Yep, he's here.
Okay.
You know what happened here for Discord?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shout out Discord here real quick. They decided to cut my connection, and then I suddenly lost Frostix. So this is my first chat. Now you can speak, so I can recover myself.
Anyways, I was saying that the elephant in the room now that we've been talking about crippling ink deficiency for the last two games has just been Dude and their choice of arrow spray here. And I think when it just comes down to whether or not you go gold or you go silver on Rainmaker, I feel like both of them have their case uses. Booyah Bomb allows you to just have a good both Booyah Bomb and Reef Slider are really good push tools here. They cover a lot of space and they just demand a lot of presence. Dare I say, we go silver here, because I think it'll come into play a lot more. I think in that final checkpoint here, it is just a straight walk forward, and having a Reef Slider escort your Rainmaker holder straight to that final pedestal, or even just straight to the first pedestal, is a really good thing to have. And also, Fizzy Bomb can do a lot of good object damage for what it's worth, even when Sea Lanterns is running a E-Leader, which can just chip away things. Yeah.
So that's gonna be the interesting thing that we could see here. Is that Silver Spray possibly coming out here and clearing out all the space that it needs. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's be coming out here. Doctor, I see your play here. For some reason, you decided to play the same weapon, but decided to switch the weapon skin for that one. We know that's a T-type that you're dishing out here. Flat, by the way, has that vanilla stamper that's on the board that they're now dishing out. Now that they decided to switch off of the original stamper weapon, so to speak, so they decided to go with a little bit more aggression with that Zipcaster and the Booyah Bomb. On the other side, though, there is still the spray that is available, and that's leading to crippling ink efficiency, basically going 3 down. And with a couple members from Sea Lanterns coming up here, they should be able to get that first checkpoint rather soon. And all that it would take is apparently Osprey getting a double with just the Rainmaker. Okay, Sea Lanterns is going nuts though with some of the picks and the aggression that they have coming up here. So far, 2 members have gone down. Temp is clearing out all the space. The first checkpoint has been cleared, and Frostix, the first checkpoint done, and Sea Lanterns gets it with only less than a minute into the game.
Yeah, it's just right off the bat aggression coming up from Sea Lanterns, but now crippling ink deficiency has the Rainmaker. They have 2 sliders ready to go already, one being popped by Dude. I think Furs has another slider ready to go. Here he comes. It's not going to be able to get rid of Flat, and Flat is going to be able to get rid of Furs. The Rainmaker goes down to Banana, who gets rid of Flat. It is still close to that first checkpoint here. Banana's in a bit of a pinch here. They are rallying a jump for Furs, but now they're jumping out, and I think that is Furs going down, 3 members only on each team. And I think right now we're in a little bit of a reset state as Sea Lanterns is trying to just take back some control on their end. See, like, Temp already getting rid of Banana.
Something that I actually did not even get to highlight here now that we're back into the state where they're resetting the Rainmaker is I'm looking at crippling ink efficiency setup. If I'm not mistaken, there is a double reef slider setup that is on the board there with the blue dapples and the silver arrow spray. They have kept the cooler option consistent, just swapping out different weapons that make sense for the maps they're playing for. But so I'm actually pretty interested to see how they take advantage of the double reef slider setup that they got going on here. Of course, they're gonna have one that's just gonna farm reef sliders for days, and right now Sea Lanterns has just been calling that out constantly. And as we've seen that arrow spray just go down one by one. Doctor gets a nice little fake there. This jump is likely gonna get punished. Oh, definitely didn't even get a chance to lift 2 feet on the ground, and that will be just the delayed 3 there. And once more, Frost 6, they pick up the Rainmaker. Sea Lanterns is just trying to go for anything past 68 points remaining.
But I think they're being met with a lot of resistance now, and Temp is now forced to jump off the map, but oh, it still stays there. I think Notamoon or Furs managed to get rid of Temp before they could drop the Rainmaker, so now it is in the hands of Crippling Ink Efficiency's Headit, and now I think they need to get past mid, and having... I was going to say that Osprey is going to be a really big variable, but Osprey is being taken down. It's a good priority target on the crippling ink deficiencies. And here, Flat is going to be able to get rid of Duty. That's one less slider to worry about. And Flat has the Rainmaker in their sights, and they take it down, and we are right back into reset stage.
You know, it's fascinating that one of the members, I think that was why that picked up the Rainmaker earlier, decided that the best idea that they could do is just jump off the map to force a Rainmaker reset and make things hard for crippling ink efficiency. But I think they just went down right before they had a chance to do that. That's why we saw the Rainmaker spawn in an interesting location for crippling ink efficiency. Didn't really matter for them in the end, as crippling ink efficiency still couldn't get more points on the board. What's crazy enough to see here, Pro6, is we look at the game state where we stand right now. The Reef Slider gets a double, so ignore that for a second. Dude with a critical Reef Slider double should open things up here for crippling ink efficiency, especially with the spawns that are there. First is actually going to be the designated player to try to move up and open up some space for the team. The problem, though, is that they went down as well, and there is a rebound of ink of orange ink that Sea Lanterns has, but crippling ink efficiency does take 3 members out in the picture. Only the Zip Master alive, and the Zip Master comes out clutch, which is incredible. It's going to slow them down by just a bit, but only for a few more seconds. Now both checkpoints been cleared, and this is going to be an interesting finish here for both teams, Prospects.
It is a 1-point differential, and there's the wipeout from Sea Lanterns here. I was really just about to commend Crippling Ink Efficiency's effort to get there. I think they had Dude painting the Rainmaker up, and you had this frontline duo of Furs and Banana trying to just get space, and they did. They almost got a wipeout going for them, but now it is still, Sea Lanterns still holds 1 point over Crippling Ink Efficiency here. Banana is trying to strike against Doctor. No, Banana goes down. Here comes a Reef Slider from Furs, and Doctor is still in the building. They are able to get rid of Furs with the Rainmaker, and they're just trying to hold their space in pit. Meanwhile, the rest of Sea Lanterns are mobilizing into Utah, just claiming space that Doctor doesn't even need to take because it is about to end right here. And then a Reef Slider's coming in, and that won't be enough as Sea Lanterns takes this at 3-0.
Frost6, I don't remember the last time I saw the scoreline be literally just 1 checkpoint each and not anywhere past that, but I felt like that kind of just summed up this game as a whole. Sea Lanterns might have just been playing a little bit there, but I believe they couldn't find the answers that they needed to against the other weapons that Crippling Ink Efficiency had. And there was a lot of opportunities Crippling Ink Efficiency got to basically at least make this a 2-1 set at the end, but I mean, that critical pick from Flat, at least taking out the Rainmaker there, and also some great coverage that Crippling Ink Efficiency, Sea Lanterns had, while Furs went down with the Dapples, kind of made it a lot more difficult, especially with the amount of time burned. And that's how we saw Sea Lanterns getting the clean 3-0 there, and that's a great start for them coming into day 1 of Low Ink.
Big shoutouts to Flats. You have been working OT within Scorch Gorge. In comes the Stamper with the steel chair. And I think if Flats wasn't there, I really could have imagined an alternate reality in which Crippling Ink Efficiency could have gotten just a little bit further. And right now, in that situation, a little bit further is all they needed to get that lead here. And that was a really good salvage match from Crippling Ink Efficiency as we close out Swiss Round 1.
It's always funny to just hear Crippling Ink Efficiency.
I'm thinking of efficiency too much.
are you sure that they weren't being efficient? And unfortunately, they did not really live up. They did not really live up to their name for the most part in terms of being efficient either there, because it felt like they lost so much control of the map across all three